Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to Imola. Here we are then, it's the final event of our 2022 season, our 30th year anniversary in the Ferrari Challenge, and it's Trofeo Pirelli Race 1 about to get underway. Unusually, because of course it is on a Friday. Race 1 is on the Friday, Race 2 is on the Saturday, because the glittering World Finals non-championship events are taking place on the Sunday. There is the Richard Mille safety car about to lead the cars away on their formation lap. We have Trofeo Pirelli drivers, Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers, and we're joined by some of the drivers from our Asia Pacific region of the Ferrari Challenge as well to give us a 31 strong grid. Boy, it is a big grid here at Imola, and very much looking forward to this race. And there you can see just some of the cars lined up on the grid. And we have a couple of drivers from the UK series joining us as well, the likes of H. Sickens and Andrew Morrow. And there is our Trofeo Pirelli champion, Doriane Penn, who did exactly the same as Michelle Gatting last year for the Iron Dames and the Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx team, and took the championship with some style. Down there onto the grid right now, here is Marietta Evans.
Good afternoon, welcome back to the grid. Behind me, I hope you can see her in the pink car, our Trofeo Pirelli champion, Doriane Penn. We crowned her in Mugello. But the big question today is, will Thomas Neubauer, who was already explosive in Mugello, be able to take his first win of the year here at Imola? Let's hear from him. Thomas, Paul from the race, how are you feeling? Can you keep Doriane and Eliseo away from you?
Yeah, I mean, we had a good qualifying this morning. We are building the things slowly. We started in Hockenheim, now in Mugello it was, yeah, and now in Imola. So we're coming into the pace, we're getting into it, and now the goal is obviously to have a good race, but the main focus is on Sunday, obviously.
And how is the run to turn 1 on this track?
Well, it's not, it's very special because it's a chicane, so the second corner is actually coming very quickly as it's a few meters away. So it will be interesting to see the first how it goes after the start, but yeah, obviously starting from pole is the best thing we could have done this morning, and to wish for the start in a few minutes. So that's a good point.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Very good to hear from Thomas Neubauer for the Charles Pozzi Courage team. He, of course, going from pole position. Alongside him is Alicia O'Donoghue, which means, very unusually, the likes of Doriane Penn is going from the second row of the grid, starting from P3. Luca Nurmi, P4. Of course, we will bring you the full grid in just a while when the cars set off on their formation lap. The best of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers, Christian Brunsborg going from pole position for the AM drivers for Formula Racing, and Marco Pulcini, who had such a dramatic race in Mugello. You may recall he is going from P2, and it's Nobuhiro Imada, who is the best of the Asia Pacific Pirelli AM drivers, who's actually going from P10 on the grid overall. So that gives you the update as to who is going from where. And as we take a look through the grid and the cars about to get away, we can see that the grid is quite a packed place, and there, as I said, just some of our Asia Pacific drivers who are joining us here, and we are delighted that they are part of our weekend here in Imola, as indeed they were in Mugello as well. The colour codes, to make it easier for you: red means Europe, Blue means North America and yellow means Asia Pacific. To further confuse you with colours, if the car has a red strip across the top of the windscreen, that means they're a Pirelli driver. If it's white, they're a Pirelli AM driver. If it's yellow, it means they're a Shell Asia Pacific driver. There is Doriane Penn in final stages of preparation, getting ready to go out and perform. In this 30-minute race, as always, a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenger. There is Luca Nurmi for Formula Racing. At one point, he was the youngest driver in the Ferrari Challenge. That record has now been taken away from him, but Luca Nurmi undoubtedly and unquestionably a huge young talent who has a great career ahead of him. He races for the Formula Racing team. And this is where we are then in Imola. Please follow us on any form of social media at Ferrari Races. We would love you to be part of the family, particularly this weekend, our glittering Finale Mondiale weekend, where we celebrate everything that's great and good about this wonderful prancing horse brand. So the air temperature is 24 degrees, the track temperature is 27 degrees. In all honesty, it couldn't be better for racing here at Imola. The track conditions are absolutely perfect. Only right and proper then that we give you a full track presentation of this Imola circuit, and let's take a look at it right now. So you leave the straight, which isn't a straight, which is start-finish, into that sequence, turns 2, 3 and 4, which is something of a chicane, before another chicane comes up pretty quickly, turns 5 and 6. Then when we leave Sector 1 and go into Sector 2, it's the toast turn, which is almost like a hairpin, and you climb uphill through turns 7, 8, and then down again through 9 and 10, and then up again as you head towards the start of Sector 3 as we complete Sector 2. And Sector 3 then, as I said, you climb uphill before another chicane and then run downhill. Very, very heavy braking into turn 14 and 15. Those are the Ravazza turns. It's almost one turn, but we consider it to be 2. There, the Richard Mills safety car ready to lead the cars away on their formation lap.
Finale Mondiali 2022, most important race of the season, mythical circuit, and we hope to give a lot of show.
Come sempre sarà sicuramente una gara domenica ricca di colpi di scena.
A nice event and race here in a fantastic circuit of Imola.
J'espère pouvoir prétendre à la victoire. On saura que dimanche après-midi qui c'est qui aura gagné. On verra ce que ça donne, mais je suis confiant.
Finali Mondiali è l'evento più magico e stupendo di tutto l'anno. Tutto l'anno per noi è proprio l'apice di un campionato. Poi quest'anno 30 anni di Ferrari e sono riusciti a fare una cosa incredibile.
Le plus gros week-end de la saison, forcément j'ai gagné le championnat, donc je suis très contente de ça, d'avoir accompli tout ça, mais je vais tout donner pour gagner cette dernière finale.
Very impressed with the show that Ferrari is putting together. I love everything that I'm seeing here. I'm excited for participating in the Finale Mondiale.
Un meraviglioso sogno che si avvera ogni anno e ogni anno la stessa adrenalina, una sfida incredibile.
Ferrari のお祭りで、そしてフェラーリのレースで、イモラで思いっきり楽しみたいと思ってます。
フィナーレモンディアレに、参加させていただいてありがたいなと思ってます。母ちゃん、ありがとう。
È un'esperienza che mi devo godere in ogni ultimo minuto. Finali mondiali.
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 An impressive piece from some of the protagonists in the Ferrari Challenge. What was interesting was we heard from both our Trofeo Pirelli AM champion and our Trofeo Pirelli champion as well. I'll tell you something about that in just a moment, because we are getting ready to go racing. So, as I was saying, it's going to tell you something about the two champions. Ange Bardi won his first championship in the Ferrari Challenge before Doriane Penn, our Trofeo Pirelli champion, was born. There you go. Thomas Neubauer goes from pole position. Alessio Dono is alongside. Then Doriane Penn goes from P3 and Luca Nurmi goes from P4. That completes row 2 of our Trofeo Pirelli grid. Then we find John Boutique and former Formula 1 star Adrian Sutil going from P5 and P6 respectively. It's Christian Brunsborg, the best of the AM drivers. He has Marco Pulcini, who's lightning quick alongside him, going from P8. Max Mugelli and Nobuhiro Imada, they are P9 and P10. So Nobuhiro Imada, the best of our Trofeo Pirelli Asia Pacific drivers. Ange Bardi, the Trofeo Pirelli AM champion, goes from P11 with Niccolo Marinangeli alongside P12. Niccolo Rossi is P13 and Hanno Laskowski goes from P14 on our big, strong grid. Klaus Branson and Nigel Schundevert, they are P15 and P16. It's the 8th row. To the 9th row we go right now, where we find Alessandro Cozzi and Arno Dahlmeier, then both Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. Then it's Yuda Uchida and Alexander Boucher. They go from P19 and P20, so that completes the first 10 rows. Andrew Morrow, what a young star he is from the UK. He goes from P21 with Kanjar Yagura going from P22. H. Sickins is P23 with Faisal Al Faisal, both UK drivers racing in the European Challenge this weekend. They are P23 and 24. Kazuyuki Yamaguchi goes from P25. He has Andrew Gilbert alongside. And then we find Eric Chung. Welcome back to Eric Chung. Great to see him back on the grid. And Motohiko Isazaki alongside him. Mikhail Boucher and Baby K. They go from P29 and P30 with Shigeru Kamawai going from P31 on the grid. Delighted to say, talking of young whippersnappers as we were, if proof were needed that a great career in the Ferrari Challenge can really help you, is someone like Niklas Nielsen, who's alongside me now. He is one of our official Competizione GT drivers, and the reason he's one of our official Competizione GT drivers is because he is a brilliant driver. Niklas, Finale Mondiali must bring back fond memories for you in the Ferrari Challenge.
Yes, it definitely does. I mean, I did my first ever race actually in 2017 at the Finale Mondiali in Mugello. I wasn't allowed to race the actual finale because I didn't do enough races in the championship that year. But eventually I went on in 2018 and won the championship and the finale. And as we can see, most of the drivers say, yes, the championship is important, but what is most important for them is obviously the finale.
It's the world final race, the Gold Roof race. Right, we are getting ready to start. We will have comments from Niklas Nielsen during the course of the race, but right now the safety car peels off into the pit lane. It's the responsibility of Thomas Neubauer and Alessio Dono to control the pace of the rolling start then. You can see them both champing at the bit. It's a big, big grid of cars. This is the start-finish straight then. They roll past our commentary studio window then. We are ready to go racing. Here comes the lighting gantry. And the lights go out. It is a good start from Thomas Neubauer. Good start too from Doriane Penn, I think, trying to get to the inside of Alessio Dono before they get to the chicane. Let's see who does what here. It is something of a pinch point then as they all run into the chicane for the first time of asking. And Alessio Dono had got by Thomas Neubauer and there was contact between the two of them. And that has played nicely into the hands of Doriane Penn because both Alessio Dono and Thomas Neubauer go spinning around. So it is Doriane Penn from Luca Nurmi and John Boutique and Adrian Sutil, the top four then. And then it is Christian Brunsborg and Marco Pulcini. Making hay is Ange Bardi, and there you can see, with those two stricken cars, I cannot believe that we will complete a lap without the safety car. So there is Doriane Penn then, who is rubbing her hands with invisible soap, just being able to take advantage of everything. And sure enough, Niklas, the safety car is called for, just as we expected. And to be truthful, here at Imola, and I know no overtaking once the safety car has been called for, is they're going to have to give that position back, and that's very, very close, isn't it? Yeah, it's something of a funnel when you go into that first chicane, and there is Alessio Dono, and we will probably see perhaps Thomas Neubauer has managed to get the car going, but Alessio Dono is absolutely beached there. As I was saying, it's a bit of a funnel going into that chicane, turn number one. No, Thomas Neubauer has not got going. He's stuck there in the gravel. I suspect that they're not on each other's Christmas card list now. But 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Early stages of a race, of course, going into that funnel. It's a real pinch point, Niklas. When you've got such a big, big grid of cars, the race isn't won in the first lap, is it?
No, definitely not. And I mean, for both drivers, it's very unfortunate to, even though it's a sprint race of 30 minutes, I mean, it's very unfortunate to finish any race basically in the first corner, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. But there we are. The cars will be recovered as quickly as possible, and we will go back to racing. I don't doubt that the incident will be under investigation from the race control team. But for Doriane Penn, who is the Trofeo Pirelli champion, is just played right nicely into her hands. Also with us is Nico Spalak, regular contributor to our programs. How did you call that then? Just so many cars going into that corner. Really 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Let's have a look at the replay of the start, so perhaps we can pick the bones out of this. Initially, Neubauer getting a very, very good launch off the line. I say launch, of course, they are already rolling. But, of course, Alessio Dono going into that chicane, as we see here. He outbrakes Thomas Neubauer. And now, whether Neubauer went across, whether Alessio Dono went across Neubauer, whether Neubauer couldn't quite rotate the car and he made contact with Alessio Dono. Truthfully, from those camera angles, it's very difficult for us to ascertain, Nico.
Yeah, I would just say, you know, there just wasn't enough space for both of them on the trajectory they were in. I think I would agree that's a racing incident, both being optimistic about their chances through the turn, and, you know, that happens.
Well, I can tell you that incident involving cars 19 and 6 in turn 2 is under investigation. So, of course, the race control team have got many more camera angles and also all the data to look at as well. And they, of course, will be investigating that. But I tend to agree. I think it will be adjudged to have been one of those unfortunate racing incidents. The big beneficiary, of course, Doriane Penn and Luca Nurmi and John Vortique, who are the top 3 now. In terms of the AM drivers, it is Christian Brunsborg from Marco Pulcini and Ange Bardi. Ange Bardi, of course, the Trofeo Pirelli AM champion. And there is his car. Center screen now, the number 2 machine from Ange Bardi for SF Côte d'Azur Cannes. And he, of course, despite having won the championship, if you're a racing driver, it doesn't really matter whether you've won the championship or not won the championship. Every race you want to enter, you want to win. And that will be exactly what Ange is feeling, as indeed will Doriane Penn. Slight advantage Doriane Penn has got now is the 2 cars in front of her took themselves out. So she is in that race leading position in class and in the race overall. Ange Bardi has got to get by Max Mugelli and Marco Pulcini and Christian Brunsborg before he can claim to be in the lead of his particular category. So the cars all rolling through this chicane then, and we are under the control of the safety car as the recovery of the Alessio Dono car and Thomas Neubauer car continue. Now, to give credit where credit is due, the recovery team here at Imola work very, very quickly indeed. And don't imagine that we will be behind the safety car for too long. In this situation, Niklas, when you're in a safety car and you've hardly even done a lap, what can you do inside the car to try and, I mean, the tyres haven't even got up to temperature yet, so you can't maintain the temperature because you haven't even got there, have you? But is there anything you can be doing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all the attention now should be to try and at least build in some temperature, or at least try to stabilize or keep the temperature in the tires. Like you said, they probably never even reach the, let's say, the right temperature. So for now, it's just about getting everything hot, brakes, tires, and get ready for the restart.
Imola, yeah. So all my career, I've never been on this track. My expectations are low. I just enjoy the drive and do my best, which gives me that good feeling then in the end when I have done a good race, a good lap time. So I just try to go to the limits as much as I can, and then have some good fighting probably with other drivers and enjoy the weekend very calm.
So good to hear from Adrian Sutil then, who of course is running in that P4 position at the moment. Now, I was saying that the recovery team work very, very hard here in Imola. Such is that the safety car is coming in at the conclusion of this lap. So we will go back to racing, having lost barely a couple of minutes of race action. You see, we're trying to bring you as much maximum race value as possible. Look at the team actually jogging their way around, clearing the gravel out of that chicane, which is utterly critical because at racing speed, when you come across gravel, it's a bit like all of a sudden driving on ice, and you really kind of don't want that. So the team doing a great job there, and of course race controller in constant constant touch, and this is our TV production control. And right centre stage there is Andrea Montali, who is very much responsible for making sure we're in the right position at any one time. I thought he was going to give us a wave there, but he chose not to do that. This is Christian Brunsborg for Formula Racing then, who is leading in Trofeo Pirelli Am, with Marco Pulcini really champing at the bit, ready to get going again. Now, this provides an opportunity potentially to Luca Nurmi, because if Luca Nurmi can anticipate when Doriane Penn is going to give it 100% on the loud pedal, then perhaps he's going to be able to take the race to her. History tells us that Doriane Penn is very good on safety car restarts, which means Luca is really going to have to be on his mettle. I would suggest, Nico, to take advantage of any opportunity here.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a tough ask. However, you know, Luca Nurmi has no pressure about him really. He can really go and try and anticipate that moment, but I think it's fair to say it's always easier to be in the front than having to try to anticipate.
Nico's racing career, of course, mostly on bicycles, but nonetheless the same principle applies. I'm being flippant, and that was really unnecessary. I deserve to have a little slap for that. Right, they're into Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2, and they are heading for the start-finish line now. And Doriane Penn has got it absolutely nailed for this restart. Let's go racing. It is Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. We're live from Imola, and we're heading into that chicane, which caused the problems for Alicia O'Donoghue and Thomas Neubauer. No such problems, it would appear, for Doriane Penn and Luca Nurmi. They're onto little bits of gravel that are left on board now. John Boutique, the top three are breaking away a little bit from Adrian Sutil here. Then it is Christian Brunsborg and Marco Pulcini and Max Mugelli. So all the cars through, of course, safety car restart. Here comes Ongebadi, absolutely determined to try and get by that car of Max Mugelli. And Luca Nurmi taking a look at the inside of Doriane Penn. And is Luca Nurmi going to get a really good run up the hill here and try and take this to Doriane Penn? They've had some terrific fights during the course of the season, and generally speaking, it's always been Doriane Penn that has won out and doesn't seem to suffer the pressure of people behind her too badly, and sure enough begins to stretch her really rather slender legs now over Luca Nurmi and build up just a little bit of margin. Now, of course, Luca Nurmi's also going to be very, very busy momentarily defending from John Vortique, who is running in P3 and had such a strong race in Mugello, particularly in race 2. Last time we were out with the Ferrari Challenge a couple of weeks ago. He will be buoyed with confidence, I would suggest. The run downhill underneath the bridge towards the Ravazza turns now. Goes Doriane Penn and Luca Nurmi. Who's going to be the king of the late breakers here? Well, they all break at roughly the same time. I think Luca does get a bit closer to Doriane Penn under braking. And is he going to have a go going into the first chicane? Because it's the exit from Ravazza 2, and how you guide your car through this straight that isn't, heading up towards that chicane for the first time of asking. I don't think Luca is quite close enough to be able to have a go, unless once again, under braking, he chooses to use much more braking force and leave it later, but he doesn't. They really attack the sausage curves that delineate these chicanes here. And, well, Doriane Penn, Luca Nurmi and John Boutique, it is as we were then. In the meantime, it is Christian Brunsborg from Marco Pulcini and Ongebadi, who has got by Max Mugelli. We didn't see the overtake live, but the fastest lap, no surprise, comes from Doriane Penn, a 1:45.023. Of course, she's got clear tarmac ahead of her, and the evolution of tyre temperature is beginning to come, so we could see yet a further fastest lap to come. So, Christian Brunsborg, P1 in the AMS. There was Marco Pulcini, P2 in the AMS, but we stay with Doriane Penn now. One of these downhill sections here, and again, Luca Nurmi appears to be really, really strong on the brakes. And there's Brunsborg, there's Pulcini. Couldn't quite see Ongebadi into this. They climb then uphill and then go down once again. And of course, another chicane to come, which is where Doriane Penn is right now. You can see the order in Pirelli Am on your left-hand side of the screen. This is the Pirelli drivers, or these are the Pirelli drivers by dint of the fact they've got the red strip across the top of their windscreen. If it's an Am driver, they have a white strip across the top of the windscreen. And into Ravazzas once again, and it's almost a carbon copy of where we were one lap ago, because Doriane Penn has lost nothing, Luca Nurmi has gained nothing. It is as they were, but I will say that the top three are breaking away a bit. from Adrian Sutil, who is steadfast in P4 and has got 3 hard-charging Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. Not quite with him, but there you can see Marco Pulcini flashing his lights. Now, Ange Bardi has got to do a sequence and series of absolute quali laps to get on terms with these two. And what Christian Brunsburg and Marco Pulcini inevitably will do is the more that they fight together, that will enable Ange Bardi to get closer to them. Now, of course, you raced when you raced in the Ferrari Challenge, Niklas Nielsen. You raced for the Formula Racing team, who engineer a great car under the stewardship of one Mr. Alan Jurgensen. Christian Brunsburg is a young talent, isn't he? No question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's great to see him back in the car. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember he had an accident, probably in Hockenheim, I guess. And yeah, he's been struggling a bit after coming back, but it's great to see him performing so well. And yeah, I'm really happy to see that he's doing a good job out there.
Was I telling the truth, Niklas, when I was saying that the more these two fight, it plays into the hands of Ange Bardi, because inevitably their lap times have got to slow as they fight each other?
Yeah, definitely. If you reach the point where they start to, where Christian has to defend, obviously they will lose a lot of lap time, and that will make the others come even closer.
Thank you very much for vindicating what I was saying. And at the moment, Marco Pulcini is really taking that to Christian Brunsburg, so we will see how that pans out. These three, they're gapped exactly the same. There's Adrian Sutil running in P4, but now under braking, Marco Pulcini is almost on the gearbox of Christian Brunsburg. That's how close he's getting. Now, Marco Pulcini, of course, you will recall, raced in race 1 in Mugello, couldn't race in race 2 by dint of an accident he had in race 1 through no fault of anyone's. And to be fair, Marco Pulcini has come back as good as gold. Look at this. He is hugely talented, hugely quick. The gap is just 4/10 between the two of them. Under braking, is Pulcini going to get closer here? Now, he doesn't actually, and Christian Brunsburg does very, very well through that chicane, but it's on the exit of the chicane that Pulcini is able to perhaps claw a little bit of the gap back. But look how quickly, in the space of 1.5 laps, Ange Bardi, the Trofeo Pirelli AM champion, whoa, sliding that car through the chicane. That cannot be the quickest way. And all the momentum that he's made is just lost, hasn't he? Because he ends up going out into the gravel. But well done, Ange, for entertaining us, as you always do. Absolutely brilliant, aggressive driving. Sideways is not the quickest going forward, but it is super entertaining for us. Goodness me, we're on 15 3/4 minutes of the race remaining. Of course, we have had a safety car phase right from the very start, and one driver that's being warned with regards to track limits is Niccolo Marinangeli, the Trofeo Pirelli driver running P6 in class. P14 in the race overall. It's the only warning I think we've seen with regards to track limits. So there we can see as both of those cars just rattle across the curbs. That is the fight that is going on for P1 that we were seeing then in Trofeo Pirelli AM, but we go back to John Wautique now, chasing Luca Nurmi. So Marco Pulcini, where can he pull this off? It's difficult to overtake here at Imola, to be fair. One of the best opportunities is coming up next, and that is going into the first chicane. So let's see where Marco Pulcini is going to put the car relative to where Christian Brunsburg is going to try and defend. You carry as much speed as possible, try and shortcut, try and make it straight, hug the wall, and here comes Marco Pulcini. Will he dive to the inside at the last minute? Well, he chooses not to, primarily because Christian Brunsburg, quite rightly, shut the door. He's got track position. He's perfectly entitled to do that. If you're going to go by, you're going to have to go round the long way, is what he is thinking to himself. And all the time, Ange Bardi is getting very, very close to both of them. And Marco Pulcini's strategy may have to change from attacking to defending, because Ange Bardi, generally speaking, takes no prisoners and will be going for it straight away. He won't necessarily lay in wait for these two to continue fighting, awaiting picking up the pieces. He's just going to be going for it 100%, and he'll try and pick both of them off at the same time if he can. And of course, he's got years and years and years of Ferrari Challenge experience, and he's an awesome driver. That's why he is the Trofeo Pirelli AM champion, and therefore he is right with them now. So all of a sudden, within class, this becomes a three-way fight as Marco Pulcini now dives to the inside of Christian Brunsborg, but it becomes the outside, of course. And again, they just clatter over those sausage curbs. Absolutely no respect for the painted yellow curbs. Just hammer it across there as if rallycross style. Brilliant to watch. Here comes Angebadi then. Oh, and he makes contact with the back end of Marco Pulcini, and I have to say, Niklas, it looked like he missed his braking point, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, that one wasn't too good, to be honest. It seemed like he really misjudged the braking point, unfortunately.
Oh, what a shame, because that was, and if I may say, not very often I extol my own virtues, but I think I was building that up to being a fantastic fight, and in the end, it's not going to be, is it? Undoubtedly, that will be under investigation. Now, a lot of damage to the front of the Angebadi car as well, and that probably is going to hamper its performance, let alone whatever race control might say about that. But that was such a shame. Now, what I don't quite understand, Nico, I don't know whether you can fill me in here, is seeing that whether Pulcini actually caught Christian Brunsborg at the same time.
Yeah. It was really a billiard move, unfortunate, but both of them are out of the race, and no indication of a safety car, so apparently they at least got the cars out of the gravel or into a safe spot, but certainly both of them out of the race. So, I mean, Angebadi will go after the race and apologize, because that's absolutely what he wanted to do, was not, but it happened, and yeah, race control will certainly do something about that.
To be fair, when you're absolutely on the edge and always on the edge, that's what makes you a hugely quick racing driver. The difference between being hero and zero is minuscule, isn't it? Absolutely minuscule, and it was just one of those unfortunate. Now, the incident involving cars 2, 27 and 4 in turn 18 is indeed under investigation. Now, Marco Pulcini has got going again, so he's obviously managed to pull that car out of the gravel, which fair play to him. Let's see it in replay here. It looked like Ange was going for the inside initially and then decided against that. I might be calling that exactly wrong. Here we can see it again. And I can see now where Christian Brunsborg got caught in that as well. Okay, well, there's no question that that's going to be under investigation. Alan Jurgensen, the team boss of Formula Racing, and of course the D2P team looking on as well. So, there's debris on that. Ooh, good avoidance by, non-avoidance by Luca Nurmi. Have good avoidance by Doriane Penn. The reason I'm laughing is Niklas Nielsen, in a state of exasperation, just held his hands up to say, goodness me, you really should have tried to avoid that, Luca. Drive-through penalty for car number 2 for causing a collision is what we are seeing on the on our timing screen and message screen, and I think that's a slam dunk, Niklas. Now, this is the thing. When you get a drive-through penalty, obviously that's going to penalise Angebadi. But of course, Christian Brunsborg and Marco Pulcini, their race is over.
Yeah, I mean, for Angebadi, I think he knew immediately when he hit Marco that yeah, he was probably going to get a drive-through for that one. And yeah, like you said, the race for the 2 others are definitely ruined, which is yeah, very unfortunate. And I mean, for Christian, I was just about to say that for him now is all about staying in front, not making any mistakes, because these cars are performing so closely that it's almost impossible to pass around this track. Yeah. But we never actually got into a real fight.
No, and you know, to be fair to him, he didn't make a mistake, did he? Yeah,
not at all.
It was just an innocent bystander in the wrong place at the, or in the right place at the wrong time, wrong place at the right time. Depends how you look at it and what your viewpoint is. But there we are. It has changed the face of the race, Nico.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see Angebadi's lap times are really, really slow. So even aside from the drive-through penalty, we've got a very physical battle there.
Three-way fight here. This could end in tears, but good driving, I have to say. Now, Niccolo Marinangeli, who is leading those two, is indeed staying in front of Klaus Branson and Nigel Schundeverd. Goodness me, that was a heart-in-the-mouth moment as Angebadi does take his drive-through penalty. And as Nico said, he will be the very first to go and apologize. And again, we're seeing some big sideways racing, which I have to say I love to see. But Klaus Branson, that isn't necessarily the quickest way. And trying to take advantage is Arno Dahlmeier in the all-white car number 13. And he's in a prime position here to be able to take advantage of those two. And it's all the fight that's going on for P6 in Trofeo Pirelli Am. So Trofeo Pirelli Am for Europe is with Alessandro Cozzi ahead of Nicolo Rossi and Hanno Laskowski. That's the way it looks. We do have Nobuhiro Imada and Yuda Uchida, who are at the moment P1 and P2 in Trofeo Pirelli Am for Asia Pacific, because we've got our Asia Pacific drivers as well. Car number 22 is under investigation for dangerous driving. And we can see, surely the meatball flag is going to be shown to that car number 22, because there's a piece of the rear wing flapping about at the back of the car, isn't there, Nico? You've got better eyesight than I have, but you pointed out that there was something flapping on the back of the car. Whether that rear wing has been dislodged.
Yeah, wasn't quite sure which car that was, but certainly there was something loose, and obviously the dangerous driving was for the scene we just saw for the start-finish straight, because as you called it, that can go very, very wrong, as we see a few notes on our timing screen about exceeding track limits and last warning, so that could also come into the mix in terms of penalties, as we've got an overtake.
Hanno Laskowski, he's moved up now into what is the lead of, no, that can't be right, because I'm looking at our timing screen. There's Alessandro Cozzi, who is leading, yes. So Hanno Laskowski has moved past Nicolo Rossi to take up P2. But there's, of course, all sorts of shenanigans going on right behind as well. Alessandro Cozzi remains in that P1 position in class in terms of Trofeo Pirelli Am for the European drivers, ahead of Hanno Laskowski and Nicolo Rossi. And these two are continuing to have a real ding-dong battle. This is Nicolo Marinangeli, who is in the number 22 car, who's driving in Trofeo Pirelli. And in fairness, Nicolo Rossi, of course, is in a completely different livery to the one that we normally accept to see Nicolo Rossi. That is Nicolas Rossi in the number 8 car for Kessel Racing. And car number 22 is getting a time penalty of plus 10 seconds for dangerous driving. Car number 17 is Alexandre Bochet. He's getting a final warning for exceeding track limits. So as you say, there's lots of track limits penalties, not penalties, warnings coming up. We've got under 6 minutes of the race remaining. What a race this has turned out to be, with all sorts of dramas that have just added somewhat to the action. And whilst all that's going on, Doriane Penn is 1.5 seconds up the road on Luca Nurmi, who appears not to have suffered anything from running over the debris that he really should have avoided. That's still... it was the expression from Nicholas Nielsen, who just held his hands up, saying, "Go to Specsavers, friend." Right, so Doriane Penn from Luca Nurmi and John Vortique. P1, 2, and 3. The gap evolution in Trofeo Pirelli Am for our Asia Pacific drivers, Imada and Uchida, you can see on screen, or you could, and well, 5 minutes are remaining in this Trofeo Pirelli race. And in the AMs, it is Alessandro Cozzi from Hanno Laskowski and Nicolo Rossi. Nicolo Rossi is a driver that this year has really seen him achieve what we've all known for a little while is the talent within Nicolo Rossi for his racing career. Been absolutely brilliant, and it'll be just deserves for him to be on the podium at the end of this race. And there we can see the 452 car, which is Nobuhiro Imada, who is leading Yuda Uchida, but Yuda Uchida is chasing down here in Asia Pacific. So very little between these two cars. 2 races going on in one, because of course we have got our Asia Pacific drivers in their final races of the season as they join the grid of our Trofeo Pirelli cars. So really great to enjoy and watch. And that was a slight mistake there from Nobuhiro Imada, which Yuda Uchida is allowed to get a little bit closer now. Where is he going to have a go? Where is he going to have a move? Surely going into the chicane. So trying to hug the inside line, he chooses to go to the outside now. It's going to be king of the late breakers. Look at those brake discs absolutely light up onto the loose gravel there. You can see the cars are virtually welded together as they're sliding through that chicane. Absolutely brilliant, clean and tidy racing between Imola and Uchida. A healthy respect for each other as well, which is precisely and entirely what we want to see and what we generally do see in Ferrari Challenge racing. Brilliant stuff. And Niklas, it's... Yeah, I've not known which way to look in terms of the battles that are going on, and we need a lawyer inside the studio as well to bring out all the legal announcements with regards to final warnings, track limits. Presumably, track limits becomes more difficult, Niklas, towards the end of the race because, of course, tyre degradation is coming into play, surely.
Yeah, definitely. Tire degradation plays a big role, but I also think, you know, when people start to fight, you always tend to try and push a bit more, and that is also making you go further. And yeah, another accident.
So we see in replay there, Hanno Laskovski, who had got to the inside and is broadside across the track. You can see the disappointment on the pit wall. Of course, you win and lose as teams, don't you? And whoa, so that has changed the face of the Trofeo Pirelli AM race, because it's Alessandro Cozzi now from Nicola Rossi and Nigel Schoendeverd, because dropping way down the order is Hanno Laskovski as a result of that. We've got 2.5 minutes left to run, and Doriane Penn, sorry, we've not mentioned her much because she's been trouble-free out front because she's had relatively clear tarmac ahead of her. She hasn't broken away and built up the sizable gap that ordinarily we would expect, though, from Doriane Penn. Just 1.2 seconds over Luca Nurmi, but presumably that has been enough for her to be into a fairly comfortable position and be untroubled by the Formula Racing driver Luca Nurmi. So Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx's driver Doriane Penn, then Trofeo Pirelli champion, continues about her way. In the meantime, in Asia Pacific, this wonderful battle between Nobuhiro Imada and Yuda Uchida continues at some pace, and just ahead of them you can see the number 3 car of Max Mugelli. So Max Mugelli, of course, has now take a look at the inside, thought better of it. So quite clearly the fight is on for this Trofeo Pirelli AM win for the Asia Pacific drivers, and at this moment I wouldn't say whether it's going to go Imada's way or Uchida's way, because they have been so close together for lap after lap after lap. Been some valiant efforts by Yuda Uchida to try and get by, but in my opinion, every single time he's tried, it's been in a firm way. Now, this is going to change. The information you're seeing on race control message is this is going to change how the Trofeo Pirelli AM European podium will look, because Nigel Schoendeverd, who's currently P3, is picking up a time penalty. That's going to drop him down the order, and that will mean that Klaus Sibrandsson, he goes in to pick up that P3 place. And now let's change it again, because Alessandro Cozzi, who's leading the Trofeo Pirelli AM European race, is going to get a time penalty of 10 seconds for causing a collision. As fast as I can talk about the racing going on, Nicolo Spalak is pounding the keys on the laptop to try and ascertain the connotations of who is actually going to be victorious in Trofeo Pirelli AM.
The short answer is nobody knows, because it will change in 5 seconds. But currently, as we understand it, Nicola Rossi is on pace to take his second win of the season. That would be brilliant. We're not done yet. The clock is 8 seconds away from counting to zeros. There is still a lap to go, so we will see what drama and excitement this race will bring.
I'll tell you what, this has been something else, hasn't it? The only person, Doriane Penn, has just been able to just focus and concentrate. Christmas. She bounces across. Where's the respect here, Nicholas, for racing cars? Come on, just throwing it across those sausage curbs. That's a bit of you.
It's really impressive to see actually how the suspension on these cars are working. And I mean, they do this every lap, so it means that the car is really, really strong, can actually take you for several laps, right?
Wonderful stuff. Final lap. We're on the final lap, which means Doriane Penn is heading to the checkered flag. And yet another win then for the Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx Iron Dame. And that is Doriane Penn. She takes victory in Trofeo Pirelli ahead of Luca Nurmi, who takes P2, and John Wattigue, who takes P3. Now, Nobuhiro Imada surely is going to take the win from Yuda Uchida. It's been a brilliant effort from those two drivers. There they are. It's as we were then for the Asia Pacific drivers. Credit to them because they have delivered some real entertainment. And they head towards the timing line now and the checkered flag. And it is as we were for those. Now, for the Trofeo Pirelli AM European drivers, put the numbers into a hat and draw them out to see where we get when we've crossed the timing line. And as I say, Nico is working furiously to work out once time penalties have been awarded the way it will go. And he was absolutely right. It's going to be Nicolo Rossi from Klaas Sibranson and then Arno Dahlmeier who will take P3. My goodness me. I need to lie down and a rub with a warm towel after that one because that was something else, and it ain't all over yet. Because of course we've got the Shell drivers from Asia Pacific. It's going to be Konjay Ugura ahead of Kazuyuki Yamaguchi and Eric Chung, who's back racing and back on the podium again. And then we have, of course, the Shell AM drivers from Asia Pacific to cross the line as well. We, of course, will bring it all to you in graphics as Niklas Nielsen chooses to thump me in the arse. I have no reason why. What an entertaining race, and you can see just how happy some of the teams are on the pit walls. There are other teams that will probably be a little less than that jubilant because from our side, from an entertaining race, it's not one of those races where I struggle to find things to say about. I can tell you, and Nico, for once, you neither, surely, because there was a lot going on, and I did let you have one or two words edgeways, which you normally complain about. Doriane Penn taking the win from Luca Nomi and John Vortiq. Then it was Adrian Sutil and Max Mugelli and Niccolo Marinangeli. Regrettably, Thomas Neubauer and Alicio Dono, of course, as DNFs for them, because they both ended up in the gravel, minus Bucket and Spade. Here's confirmation of the Trofeo Pirelli Asia Pacific then. Nobuhiro Imada ahead of Yuda. How to get the best out of a 488 Challenge Evo car, there is no question about that. And Doriane Penn is once again successful. Brilliant to see. So Scuderia Nicky Iron Link celebrate another victory. To add to the many, in fact, the steel reinforcements for the mantelpiece for the trophies of one Doriane Penn has been ordered because there are so many. FML D2P team having a conversation there with the really novel livery on John Vortiq's car, and there is John Vortiq. He, of course, takes P3. So right now, whilst we try and grab our breath, we're going to take a look at the pit show from Imola, Ferrari Challenge style. Nicolo Rossi is so happy. He is such a lovely young man. And you and I have both said, Nico, as Nicolo Rossi's career has developed over the last couple of 3 years, my goodness, he has come of age is incorrect, but it really has come good. Look at him being congratulated there by Hanno Laskovsky as well. Such camaraderie in this paddock. It's wonderful to see. Absolutely wonderful. So we're going to be talking to Doriane Penn, of course, race winner in just a few moments.
Doriane, that was a very eventful race start, but you made the most of it.
Yeah, complex start. I mean, yeah, the lap was pretty. I mean, the first lap was pretty good, and then the pace was quite good also throughout the race. So very happy, and it's a good preparation for the Finale Mondiali.
How are you feeling now that the title is in your bag?
Yeah, for sure. The goal of the season, as I say again, he to win the championship, so I'm very happy to achieve that before the end of the season. And yeah, I'm happy to continue to win, and I'm here for that and to win every race as possible. And yeah, very happy, and thank you to the team for the job. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You do feel more relaxed now.
So Doriane Penn then P1 and Lukanami P2 and John Bortique P3. Christian Brunsborg, you can see there as now we take a look at the highlights of that race.
Nicolo, a bit of an inherited win, but a win nevertheless, and very well deserved.
Indeed, indeed, I'm very happy. It was a hard race, it was a tough one, it was a painful. I would say that good things don't come so easy, so I'll take it. I mean, I've been a bit of up and downs, and definitely this is maybe a bit of karma.
Thank you very much, good luck.
Thank you.
I think that's very diplomatic, Mr. Rossi. And yeah, take it. You deserve it. 30th season, 30th anniversary season of the Ferrari Challenge, 1993 to 2022 for this wonderful one-make series. So, confirmation of the classification in Trofeo Pirelli Am for Europe. Then Nicola Rossi from Klaus Branson, Arno Dahlmeier, Nigel Schoeneverd, Andrew Morrow, great driver he is, Alessandro Cozzi, P6, Alexandra Boucher, H. Sickens, Faisal Al-Faisal, Andrew Gilbert then, ahead of Michael Boucher, Marco Pulcini, Hanno Luskowski, and non-classifications for Ange Bardi and Christian Brunsborg. So we're going to be heading up to the podium next to celebrate our stars. So the podium is being readied as we speak, as we look at the cars down there, and all the everyone getting together, ready to salute the drivers on the podiums, and that's always really, really good to see. As I said, there's a great camaraderie in the paddock of the Ferrari Challenge, and that's a testament to the affection. Everyone is there's von Skeltemar, for example, talking to his driver coach there, and just ready for all the drivers to make their way onto the podium for the celebrations for Trofeo Pirelli, for Trofeo Pirelli Am, those two across Europe, and then of course the podiums to come for our Asia Pacific series as well. And there, Michele Mambelli is the guy to the left-hand side of the picture that you can see, holding a microphone with sunglasses on and blazer, of course, as he's ready to direct us through the podium ceremonies here from Imola for our finale Mondiali weekend, our first competitive races of the weekend.
Secondo pilota sul podio, Luca Nurmi.
John Bortique is on the step. Here comes Luca Nurmi, sunglasses on. Always a fashion statement with Luca Nurmi. And Doriane Penn then to the top step of the podium once again. She is an Iron Dame from the Scuderia Niki Iron Links team. offered congratulations by John Bortique and Luca Nurmi, and the national anthem will play out.
Il nostro grande applauso per il podio dei vincitori con i trofei d'onore che sono consegnati dal pilota Ferrari Competizioni
GT drivers. Alessio Rovera then is here to make the trophy presentations. First of all to John Wartique, who takes P3. So Alessio here, one of our Competizioni GT drivers. Luca Nurmi receives the P2 trophy. And yet another one for a fine race win goes to Doriane Penn. All the drivers will get together on the top step of the podium. Of course, I've forgot the Pirelli trophy. How dare I? Sorry. And there, the Pirelli trophy awarded as well. And drivers get together on the top step of the podium. Rush along, Luca. Thank you. There he is then, onto the top step. And a complete podium and photographs to be taken. Of course, so much media attention in the Finale Mondiali weekend. Here is the Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx car of Doriane Penn. Then she, of course, winner of Trofeo Pirelli Race 1 here in Imola. There, confirmation of the Drivers' Championships. Once we've completed that race, Doriane Penn on 201 points, John Wartique on 158, and Luca Nurmi on 135. So they stay where they were in terms of positions in the Drivers' Championship, and it's just the points tally that has changed, of course. They stay in the same positions. Next up, we will be having our Trofeo Pirelli AM podium. This hashtag Ferrari FM 2022, of course, the Finale Mondiali, hashtag Ferrari FM 22, 30th anniversary season of the Ferrari Challenge, which we would love you to be part of in terms of social media. And there's the look behind the scenes then at the podium preparation area as our Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers getting ready to jump out onto the podium. Another success for Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx, because Arno Dahlmeier takes P3. Klaus Zebranson will be on the second step of the podium. Here's Klaus for Formula Racing. And then on the top step of the podium for KSL Racing, it's Niccolo Rossi. And right on cue then, baseball caps will be removed and national anthem will play out.
Applausi, applausi, applausi.
Applausi, applausi, applausi. As everyone celebrates the fact that our top three in Trofeo Pirelli AM are on their podium. Giancarlo Fisichella is here to make the trophy presentation. First of all, to our third place driver, Arno Dahlmeier. Klaus Zebranson will be in receipt of trophy number 2. That gets presented right now. And Niccolo Rossi then celebrating his second victory, and richly deserved. Sometimes you have to take your chances, and he had to take that, and having suffered some bad luck, he probably really deserves that. Well done, Niccolo Rossi. And of course receiving a Pirelli trophy as well from Pirelli Motorsport Manager. That's good to see. Everyone will pose for the photographs, including Giancarlo Fisichella, and then you'll see drivers onto the top step of the podium for the photographs. Rise your trophies. And there we can see the race-winning car. Different livery this weekend. Nicolo Rossi for Kessel Racing. He, of course, taking the Trofeo Pirelli AM honours. Richly deserved. Well done to Nicolo Rossi, and well done to all our drivers here. The Drivers' Championship points then. Ange Bardi, untouchable in P1. Marco Pulcini, P2. Nicolo Rossi getting oh so close, though. Just 2 points between Nicolo Rossi and Marco Pulcini in terms of the Trofeo Pirelli AM Drivers' Championship points. So that's the way it looks then, and the Trofeo Pirelli AM Drivers' Championship points confirmed. So from Imola then, thank you so much for enjoying the Trofeo Pirelli racing, and we'll see you for another race tomorrow from Trofeo Pirelli. Goodbye.